Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan. We're your hosts from Snarful Solutions Group here in Sacramento.
And it is Friday, July 11th, 2025. Great to have you with us as we connect some important dots today.
Absolutely. Lots happening. But first, let's get that quick pulse check on the world outside the studio.
Right. Weather first. Nationally, keep an eye out for strong thunderstorms. We're talking damaging winds, maybe large hail, heavy rain, mostly across the Central Plains and Midwest through this morning.
And looks like some of that heavy rainfall, maybe even flash flooding potential, is heading back towards Oklahoma and Texas over the weekend. So definitely something to watch there.
Yep. Here in Sacramento, well, it's hazy. Area's smoke is the official word.
Yeah.
And hot. High of 102 today, so, stay cool, stay hydrated.
Definitely. All right, shifting to the markets. As of today, Friday the 11th, the traditional indices were, a bit muted this week. The Dow closed at 44,430.39. That's down just a bit, 0.11% for the day.
And down about 0.83% for the week since Monday. Kind of reflects a bit of caution, maybe.
It seems like it. Same story pretty much for the S&P 500. Closed at 6,253.29. Tiny dip daily, 0.04%, and barely moved for the week, down just 0.09%. So very slight pullback there.
Okay, but then Bitcoin, completely different picture.
Oh yeah, Bitcoin had a really strong day. Closed up at 117,699.91. That's a gain of almost 1.5% just today.
And the weekly change, that's pretty impressive too.
It is. Up 8.68% since Monday. So while the Dow and S&P were kind of treading water or dipping slightly, Bitcoin really surged ahead. Quite the divergence.
Definitely a divergence worth noting. Any news on the San Francisco Giants?
Quick baseball update for Giants fans. No game last night, July 10th.
A night off. Maybe they're resting up, getting ready for the next one. Hopefully storing up some wins.
We'll see. Okay, so that market split, especially Bitcoin's performance, actually tees up our main stories pretty well today.
Yeah, it really does. Because today we're looking into some major disruptions, some pretty intense battles for control, and really asking who's holding the keys to future tech. We're digging into the Snarful Tech article report, the Morning Star.
Let's get into it. First up, the AI showdown. Microsoft versus OpenAI over AGI's future. This one's fascinating.
It really is. At the core, there's this seemingly small clause in their contract. Basically, if OpenAI's board says, hey, we've achieved artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
Then Microsoft's access to their future stuff gets limited, which is huge considering Microsoft has poured in, over $13 billion?
Exactly. And now Microsoft is pushing hard to get rid of that clause, reportedly even thinking about walking away entirely if they can't change it.
It's more than just a contract spat. It feels like a real fight for who controls the direction of AI. And then there was this internal OpenAI paper.
Right, the 5 levels of general AI capabilities paper.
Yeah.
Apparently it wasn't released, but word is it might have actually weakened OpenAI's negotiating position on this AGI thing.
Because it tried to define stages. Maybe made it harder to just declare AGI. Their official definition, by the way, is a highly autonomous system that outperforms humans at most economically valuable work.
Pretty broad. So you've got this massive investment, this definition hanging out there, and this clause. What does it actually mean for us, for businesses, families?
Well, it impacts how quickly these AI tools develop and get integrated into everything we do. The control battle matters. And the contract actually has 2 AGI definitions, which is kind of wild.
2? Okay, break that down.
So definition 1 is OpenAI's board just declaring AGI. That limits Microsoft's access and maybe revenue share, like we said. But definition 2 is sufficient AGI, and that one's tied to huge profit potential, like over $100 billion.
And Microsoft has to approve that one.
Exactly. Microsoft gets a say on the really big money definition. So it's like OpenAI has a trigger, but Microsoft has a lock on the ultimate prize. Plus, Microsoft can't use OpenAI's tech to build its own AGI independently.
Wow. So it's like this high-stakes partnership where hitting the jackpot could actually break the partnership apart. That's complex.
It is. And you see OpenAI trying to maybe reduce its dependency on Microsoft Azure, right?
Yeah.
Making deals with Google, with CoreWeave.
And competing directly. I saw something about a Department of Defense contract.
Yeah, and going after some of the same enterprise clients, sometimes even undercutting Microsoft's pricing. It definitely signals rising tension.
You can feel it. Especially when you hear Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella calling unilateral AGI claims nonsensical benchmark hacking. Pretty strong words.
While OpenAI's Sam Altman is out there saying AGI could happen during Trump's current term and that the definition itself is subjective, it doesn't really matter. Very different takes.
Yeah, and Altman's view that the definition is subjective, that feels like it could be convenient if you want to declare AGI on your own terms later, doesn't it?
It certainly keeps options open. The tension's apparently so high, there were even talks about OpenAI publicly accusing Microsoft of anti-competitive behavior. It's like a high-stakes poker game heating up.
Definitely one to watch. Okay, let's shift from that corporate AI battle to something maybe a bit more immediately useful for many of us, especially if you travel. Story 2. Traveling smarter. How eSIMs and Airlo are changing global connectivity.
Right. So Airlo, this mobile startup, just pulled in $60 million in Series B funding, valuation around $280 million now, maybe heading towards $1 billion. They're riding the wave of global travel coming back.
And they're doing it with eSIMs, embedded SIMs, basically the digital version of that little plastic chip you used to swap out.
Exactly. No more physical cards. You just switch carriers digitally. Apple really pushed this, getting rid of the physical SIM tray in iPhones, starting with the 14.
Which is super convenient. And Airlo's built a business around this, right? Offering data plans.
Yeah, tons of them. Nearly 700 different affordable mobile data packages, they say, for travelers in over 200 countries. They've got like 5.1 million customers already.
Okay, so why does this matter to you, the listener? Well, simply put, avoiding those crazy expensive roaming fees.
Oh, man, the roaming fees. We've all been there, right? Come home from a trip and bam, massive phone bill because you used Google Maps or posted a photo.
Total nightmare. I remember trying to buy a local SIM in Italy once, the language barrier, finding the right shop. eSIMs just eliminate all that hassle.
Totally. No hunting for a store, no fumbling with tiny cards you might lose, no worrying about losing your home SIM. You can land, turn on your phone, activate your eSIM plan, and you're connected. Use your maps, message people, whatever. It's seamless.
And beyond just travel convenience, this actually helps consumers generally, right? More competition.
Definitely. eSIMs make it easier for new players and virtual operators to offer plans, which puts pressure on the big carriers. That usually leads to better deals, more flexible options for everyone.
And Airlo's even moving into business solutions now. Airlo Partners.
Yeah, offering connectivity solutions for companies, organizations. So it's not just for individual travelers anymore.
But do you think the big carriers will just embrace this fully? Or will they try to slow it down to protect those old roaming charges?
Good question. We are seeing some movement. Like Vodafone in Europe has eSIM deals, 1.5 gigs for like €4 or 20 gigs for the US for maybe 26 euros. That's pretty good.
Yeah, compared to old roaming rates, that's way better. And Airlo, what are their prices like?
Well, the example given is 10 gigs for Europe for $37. Holofly, another player, has unlimited data for around $75. So you have options, and the prices are generally much better than traditional roaming.
Good to know. And how can you check if your phone actually supports eSIM?
Pretty easy usually. You can dial *#06# #06 tag. If you see something called an EID number listed there, you're good to go.
Or just check your model. iPhones from the XS or XR onwards, Samsung Galaxy phones from 2020 or so,
What?
Google Pixels from the 4. Lots of recent phones have it.
Yeah, becoming much more standard. Definitely a game changer for staying connected abroad without breaking the bank.
Okay, powerful shifts. That brings us perfectly to our third story. We're moving from travel tech convenience to the, let's say, complex intersection of money, politics, and crypto. Decoding Trump's USD1 stablecoin, money, politics, and market realities.
Yeah, this one's generated a lot of buzz and quite a bit of controversy. It's from World Liberty Financial, Donald Trump's crypto venture. They launched USD1, a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar.
And they claim it's fully backed by U.S. treasuries and cash equivalents. This comes after World Liberty raised, $550 million selling their own token, WLFI.
That's right. Now, here's where it gets really sticky. The financial ties. Trump family reportedly owns a 60% stake in World Liberty.
60%? Wow. And there's more?
Yep. Plus, a separate family entity gets a 75% cut of the net revenue from future token purchases. So, a very direct financial interest for the family.
Okay, so that immediately flags the conflict of interest concerns, especially with him being president.
Exactly. You've got Senators Elizabeth Warren and Jeff Merkley calling it an unprecedented conflict of interest. They argue it's a potential threat to both the financial system and democracy itself.
Because a sitting president could personally profit from policies or actions that affect this stablecoin.
That's the core concern. It raises all sorts of questions about influence, regulation, and just the basic principle of public officials not profiting directly from their position in this way. What does it mean if a currency is tied so closely to a political figure's personal finances?
World Liberty has a counter-argument, though, right? About the dollar.
They do. They argue USD1 actually helps the US dollar by providing modern global access to it, keeping capital sort of within the US financial system. They mentioned a $2 billion transaction with an Emirati firm, MGX, suggesting if it wasn't in USD1, it might have gone to a foreign currency, moving money offshore.
Interesting angle. How does regulation fit into this? I know stablecoins have been a hot topic.
They have. The Senate actually just passed the Genius Act, 68-30 vote. It aims to regulate stablecoins, mainly by requiring that dollar backing.
But Senator Warren doesn't think it goes far enough.
Right. She criticized it, saying it doesn't prevent the presidential family from profiting. She was pretty blunt, even calling a gala event for Trump coin holders an orgy of corruption. Strong language there.
Definitely strong language. So, okay, politics aside for a second, how is USD1 actually doing in the market? Is it taking off?
Well, reports suggest a sluggish start. Not a lot of inflows, not much organic demand, apparently. Data indicates more than half its liquidity might be coming from just 3 wallets.
Which are likely connected to World Liberty itself, acting as market makers.
That's the implication. Market making isn't unusual, but relying so heavily on it raises questions about whether real users are actually adopting and trading USD1 yet. Is the activity genuine, or is it mostly manufactured to look busy?
Yeah, that makes you wonder about that $2 billion MGX transaction, too. Why use this brand new, untested USD1 instead of established stablecoins like Tether or Circle?
It's a very good question analysts are asking. It adds to the uncertainty around its actual market traction.
And this whole thing exists alongside the original Trump P meme coin, which has been volatile, to say the least.
Extremely volatile. Huge gains for some early top wallets, like $5.2 billion realized, but massive collective losses, almost $4 billion, for over 500,000 users who maybe bought in later.
Yikes, that coin went from, $75 down to $8, then back up to $11. Classic meme coin roller coaster. Highlights the risks for regular investors.
Absolutely. And it raises concerns about wealth concentration, maybe exploitation of retail traders chasing hype, which is ironic given crypto often talks about disrupting traditional finance inequality.
Yeah. The whole setup, the chief crypto advocate, the Web3 ambassadors titles on their site, using Trump's image, it all adds layers to this really complex mix of finance, tech, and political power.
It's definitely a situation with many facets to consider.
All right, so that wraps up our main stories for today. We looked at that intense AI power struggle between Microsoft and OpenAI over AGI.
Then we shifted to the practical benefits of eSIMs and Airlo, making global travel connectivity easier and cheaper.
And finally, we unpacked the launch of Trump's USD1 stablecoin, covering the political controversy, the market realities, and those conflict of interest questions.
3 really different stories, but all touching on how technology is reshaping major parts of our world, from future intelligence and global movement to the very nature of money and political influence. These things really do connect to your daily life, whether you're using AI tools at work, planning a trip, or just trying to understand the evolving digital economy.
Absolutely. And thinking about that last story, with all the talk of innovation and decentralization in crypto, seeing a venture so closely tied to political power and exhibiting that kind of meme coin volatility, it really makes you pause. Are we building something truly new and better, or just creating a digital echo of existing financial power structures and risks? Something to mull over.
Definitely food for thought.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.